We're going to talk about running a Facebook campaign. And in
Love
this
that.
time where everybody's stuck staring at their screens, those who choose not to go out running, even so, even so, those who go out running still have their phone right there in front of them. So how can we put ads on Facebook and Instagram? They're going to be captivating, capture their attention, encourage them to interact, so you can capture their information and make that personal interaction one-to-one. How do we capture information from them that we can then use to build a personal relationship by phone calls, by text messages, by emails, things like that? We may not be working to get face-to-face with them in person right now, but we've got a great opportunity to build relationship with folks in ways that a lot of other agents are not right now. We see the airwaves and TV and every YouTube video has ads, and some of those ads are very topical. You'll see, hotels.com has a whole series of ads that's saying, we're going to be done for right now. The hotels.com guy is taking a nap, and they're just saying, stay home. So that's great. We've got an opportunity to run some topical marketing as well. So Jeff, you want to jump in real quick and walk us through?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks everybody for joining. Just out of curiosity, and I see we have a lot of people with no faces on here. Those of you that have your is actually watching your video, how many of you have actually run a Facebook ad? Just hold up your hand. Okay, about half. Okay, cool. A little more than half actually. And so, okay, great. Well, because we've got just a little limited amount of time here, so we're going to kind of cover a broad swath of information in a short period of time, and then I'm going to refer you towards the end of the call towards some resources. So we'll try and do it that way. Okay, but basically the highlights of what we're looking at is within Command, you are able to actually go into campaigns, and I'm going to share my screen here. And let's see, here we go. Okay, and within campaigns here in Command, we have the ability to actually, and I've got two ads running right now. So we come in and we can actually create a campaign, and I'll walk through what I've done here on these two, because I've got this one here, we've got this one right here. I have two different ads running right now. So one is a property that we're actually selling, this 1814 Euclid Avenue. I ran the ad starting on, I believe this past Sunday, running it for 13 days, so it'll run through the 31st. My budget was $40. You can see over here in the total spend. So far, I've spent $30. Facebook has allocated $30 against the $40 spend that I allocated. There have been 1,515 views of this ad, so it's hit 1,552 eyeballs, or sets of eyeballs of people that have actually seen it. 66 of those individual views actually clicked on the ad, okay, and just looked at the detail and probably looked at some of the pictures. And of those 66, we've had 11 people actually click through and have their information sent to us as a potential lead. So what that's basically saying is that I've spent $30, and of that $30, for $2.74 each, I've gotten 11 leads. So I've gotten 11 leads, and they've cost me $2.74 per lead. Okay, so when you're hearing people talk about a low per lead cost in Facebook, of cents or a dollar something per lead, that's what they're talking about. So what they're basically saying is an ad runs on Facebook for a period of time. We allocate a budget to it, and then that budget gets allocated across the time period in which we allocate, and then it breaks down based on the number of people who see it and the number of people that actually click on it, and then the number of people that actually follow through and click on the lead form, which submits the data into Command, which is their name, email, and phone number. Okay, so that's really the big critical number that people are constantly looking at, and that's really what we're wanting to get to. The other one that I ran here is this is the second time I've tested it, and this one is just purely for Keller Mortgage. And so the ad says something about, low rates, that kind of thing, give us a call. And so this one, not as good of results. It's still seen by quite a few people, 811 people. but only 16 of them even clicked on it, and then only 2 of them actually clicked through, and neither
So,
one
Jeff,
of them. Yeah.
can I stop you for what I hope by the end of this that we get? I've got a campaign that I ran that got 29,000 in whatever CPMs are looks and 11 clicks, but I didn't know how to put a lead form on it. So I
Okay.
hope when you get done with this that I know.
Well, we're going to go at a very high level because we've only got a half an hour, but we're going to go through the types of ads that we can actually create. Okay.
Well, that would
And
be high level. Getting a lead form on it would be high level.
Yeah. So again, we had the Keller Mortgage ad, which was just a general purpose. So when we actually run ads, we actually come in, we create a new ad. Okay. And in this case, we would be running a social ad. Okay. Hopefully everybody has an understanding of the difference on Facebook between an ad and a post. Just to brush over that real quick, an ad is something. To run an ad, you must pay for it, and you must also have a business account. Okay, so you have to have a Facebook business account. To have a Facebook business account, you must have a Facebook social account. So you'll have a personal account, and then from within the personal account, you can then create a business account. And on the business account is where you can actually place paid ads. You can also do social posts on the business account, but you can't do a paid ad on a personal page. Does that make sense to everybody, hopefully?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna actually create a campaign. We're gonna come in, say a social ad, and then the system asks us for some high level information. So we gotta give it a name. I'm just gonna say test ad. What's your goal? Now, right now, this doesn't do a whole lot, but it's beginning to gather some tremendous amounts of data that is actually becoming very insightful. And I've actually been exposed to some of it. But basically what they're trying to get to is, what are you trying to do? Okay, I'm trying to advertise a listing. I'm trying to advertise multiple listings. I want to attract a listing, get somebody to list with me, attract buyers, etc. So these are categories that we would assign to the activity that we're trying to do. And in most cases, and the one that we're seeing the best results with, is advertising a listing. Okay, and that's what I've done with that Euclid ad. I'm actually advertising a listing that I have, trying to get buyers to come and buy it. The remainder of these would come into play whenever we're trying to do other things, such as the Keller Mortgage ad, for example. I believe I wanted to attract buyers on it. So I wanted to attract buyers by trying to entice them into coming in and looking at mortgage information. Ultimately, what this will end up doing is giving us insights by Keller Williams and by Facebook that says, when you want to do this type of activity, here's the best kind of ad to use, and this is the way you would configure that to get the best results. So that's what this is setting us up for, is the ability to use artificial intelligence to proactively help us create our ads to get the best bang for our dollar. Okay, we then come down and say, where do we want it to run? Best practice, okay, and that's what I'm really kind of giving to you here. You can do whatever you want, whatever options are available to you on here. You can click as much as you want or as little as you want. A best practice that we're seeing is really to run Facebook ads over Facebook and Instagram. Okay, and I'll tell you that a little bit more about that here in just a second. But basically, those are both owned by Facebook. And when we get to the end of the ad and we start to place our budget, we can say we want Facebook to actually use its data to make sure it's running, our ads running on the best platform. Okay, so the reason we do both is once I get ready to run the ad, then Facebook's data will kick in and say, okay, this ad is actually below $300,000, and we see most people looking at that are under 45 years old, and most of them will have an Instagram account. So we're going to take this ad and we're going to split it up and run it on both platforms. I've had some ads that I've run at a higher dollar point that I've seen 80% of the dollar spend was on Facebook and only 20% of the spend ended up being on Instagram. But when I run a $200,000, $250,000, $300,000 ad, I see it more 60-40, 60% on Facebook and 40% on Instagram. So, and just so you're aware, you can do that kind of analysis, or you can allow Facebook to do that kind of analysis. My experience is that letting Facebook do it is much more effective and gets better results. So for right now, I'm just going to kind of click on those, say set up the campaign. We then come into Command. Command starts to walk us through the process. If I'm advertising a property, I actually can come into this first page. I can key in the property here. Okay, and search on that. If I don't get anything on that and I know it's there, I will often come over here and click off only my listings and do all listings. Okay, and this one is happens to be the property, and it's the listing agent is my partner Michael Brink, and so that's why it didn't show up. So a lot of times, if you don't get a property show up here and you know it's out there, come over here and change these statuses, and sometimes they'll show up a different way.
Can you do?
So I'm going to select that property. I'm going to come on down. It's going to pull in the main picture, and it's previewing and cropping the images. What it's doing automatically from that selection is pulling in the photos from MLS and the text from MLS that it's going to auto populate your ad. And then that makes the ad creation process a whole lot easier.
Hey, Jeff, real quick,
Yeah.
if I could interject, if you guys have questions, drop them in the text box.
Please, thank you.
We'll have question and answer time, certainly, as part of this, but we want to be able to address you as we go along.
And of course, it's gonna stop up on me here. Let's see, I'm gonna just cancel that for right now. But what it will do is it'll bring it in, let you crop that picture, and it'll put that picture right here. So just to run through this process a lot faster, and again, I'm gonna point you to some videos. I'm also gonna post out in the Facebook page some files and documents for you to reference, and also some other links. So I'll make all that information available to you immediately following the workshop here. So basically what will happen is it will propagate the ad over here to the right. Everything you see here is what will show up on Facebook, and as you change information over here, you can see it. So it pulled in the main copy. This came straight from MLS. There's 250 characters here, and so I can come in and say, okay, let's just do that. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and you'll see right away it changes the text. Okay, one best practice and tip and technique. Okay, less is more. Okay, Facebook is all about visuals. The more verbiage you put on your ad, the less results you're going to get from it. Okay, and so that's extremely important to be mindful of. And so you want to make sure. And for many of you, if you're anything like me, that's a challenge for me because I get very verbose as I do talking, just as I do writing. So I sometimes have a challenge with making my ad very, very, very succinct. But you want to get that down very succinct and get a few words there and be more interesting in the photo. You put your headlines in here. I'm just going to put some general stuff in here just so you see where it goes. That comes down here. I can put another click here to find out more. Okay. Now, here's where we get into what Gary was asking about. The next step here, okay, I'm going to save this ad text, and that saves all the text on the page. The next piece here is I'm going to get into the media associated with it. I would select, if I allowed the beginning part to run through, it would have brought the photos in automatically. If it doesn't bring the photos in automatically, you can come in here and select what media you want for it. It'll go out, it'll bring up all the photos. There's all the photos for the house, and I can actually go in and select which ones I want. Click on them, crop them, and they'll show up here in the ad. Okay, I'm going to save the media. What's required here? Select the media for the campaign. Put that picture in there. Save that. Save that. Okay, so now I've got a photo. I've got the text. The next thing I'm going to do is come in and say my Facebook and Instagram ads. Okay, I'm actually going to come in and here's where I say, here's my account. This is my personal account, Jeff Hickey. The page I want is my business account. So it's the Brink Realty Group. Okay, remember I said personal account, page account, business page. So I do that. I'm going to do a Facebook ad and an Instagram ad. Okay, then I get into destination. I say here, basically, I want to use a Facebook lead gen form. This is best practice. What that basically means is when the ad runs, if somebody clicks on it, it's going to take them to an automated form that Facebook will use to capture the actual content that the user has, their name, their email, and their phone number. Okay. The benefit of doing that is they don't have to type it in, and you're more inclined to get it because when they click on it and it pulls it up, it's already there. It pre-populates it based on that user's account. and then they generally will click OK, and that automatically sends that information into Command for you as a lead. Okay. If you don't use the Facebook lead gen and you use a site or landing page, then you're either not going to get anything, or you're going to have to create a form by which people are going to have to fill out and submit to you. Okay. You can change the call to action button. This basically just changes this little thing down here. You can say learn more, sign up, apply now. So we normally will say learn more about the house. I can put a destination in here to say when I click on this, after I fill out the form, where do I want it to go? I oftentimes put this, if I have a property website, I will put the property website in here so that once they get out of the ad, it takes them to the website to learn more. If I don't have a property website, then I'll send them to my personal website or a KW site or something of that nature.
Or if you're running the Keller Mortgage ad, a great place to direct them is actually to the pre-approval page.
Exactly.
At the end, your unique link for Keller Mortgage approval.
Exactly. That way they can go straight from Facebook into and go ahead and fill it out and get a pre-approval if they want. Okay. Last couple things here. And again, I apologize. I'm now running through a whole lot of things here. I wanted to give you a flavor of what's available and the steps that it takes you through. We fill out its destination page. We do our ad targeting. This is where it gets really, really important and real valuable. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I will publish some documentation that we have on best practices. So ad targeting is saying, where do you want this ad to show up on Facebook? Okay. Now you can do nothing here, okay, and you can just put in some general radius, Dallas 20 miles, and Facebook will use their parameters and they'll make decisions for you, okay? But best practice has shown us, and we've gotten better results when we come in and we do custom settings and we begin filling out some information here. And basically, so we'll put our city in, we do our city within 20 miles, and then we begin putting in interest. Again, I've got documentation on this with best targeting principles, but basically we find a great return when people are looking for specific things. So for example, when I'm marketing a house or a property, I always put in things like Zillow, Realtor.com. I'll put the word mortgage in there. I'll put the word broker in there. I'll put a handful of things in here, and I simply go in, change right here, and I just start keying them in. The one thing I want to call out for you is this or over here. You'll see here, this button that says or and. It defaults to or, and you generally want to keep it as or. If you change it to and, it'll say it must have this and that, meaning like if I had Zillow and Realtor.com in there and I said and, it would only look for people that have looked up Zillow and Realtor.com, and it would only put it on their pages. If I do or, it's going to start to zero down into a larger population that says, look at anybody and put this ad on anybody's page that has any of these things on it. Okay. If the interest is not in the targeting, you cannot add interest at this time. So you can't just add random interest. You would need to be able to find them in here. So, you know, so we would need to be able to say realtor, for example. Okay, and notice realtor per se is not in there. So I would select realtor.com, and then I actually come in here and say broker. And from there, I pick a broker and I pick a real estate broker. Okay, so there you, go ahead.
What if they're not there, like Baylor Hospital or something?
Yeah, if there are, like I just said, if there's something you put in that's not there, you can't use it. I mean, it will not allow you to put custom targeting items in here at this time.
I heard
those of you who have run ads in the past will notice there are a lot fewer interests than there used to be. We used to have access to the full list. Well, Facebook has given us a much more pared down list that they see does not violate fair housing laws. There's been a lot of concern around, and that's why we can't get smaller right now than a radius of 15 miles. They don't want us hyper local targeting specific neighborhoods, so we're not affecting certain protected classes more than others. There are ways around it. It's very important you have a relationship with the people in your farm area if you want to target a farm. You guys will see on the screen at the same time, you can also target my database. That's a very valuable piece there, which I'm sure we can get into at another point in time. It's a little bit more detailed, but.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And Seth's point is very, very important. Trying to game the system, if you will, and get around some of these constraints is potentially very dangerous. Okay, dangerous to you as an agent, because if you get caught targeting or what's it called, leading or trying to influence a person into a particular neighborhood, or worse, keep people from looking at a particular neighborhood based on, you know, their demographics. If they suspect you'll do that, they'll kick you off Facebook. I mean, they'll lock your account. And I know numerous people who that has happened to. Generally speaking, what happens is if they think that your ad is trying to game the system, they just will not approve the ad. And unfortunately, you don't get a notice for it. Your ad just doesn't get approved, and you find yourself 3 days later not knowing why the ad didn't run. Okay, so we basically, so we do the targeting, and then I'm going to kind of wrap up here just again, because we wanted to get through the overview, and we want to talk about a couple more things. But we then save our information on where we're running the ad, and then we come down and we do our budget. Down here, we specify how long we want it to run. I'm going to run it from today through the 7th. I can designate days. And then I say, how much is my budget? I want to run $30. So I'm going to run 10 days, $30. I can do it per day. So it's going to do $1.50 per channel, $1.50 Facebook, $1.50 Instagram over 10 days. Or I can actually come down and take this, distribute evenly, and say, use automatic placements by Facebook. And this will allow Facebook to actually use its algorithm to actually allocate the ad across the different platforms. A question on how does it get billed? It gets billed directly to your credit card through Keller Williams. And so we're going to get out of here out of this at this point. Okay, that's how you create the ad. I'm going to get out of this altogether and go back to campaigns over here. Over here in campaigns, up here you'll see the button called payments. Okay, so when you come into campaigns over here on the left-hand side, campaigns, payments, this lets you set up a credit card inside Keller Williams, and this is what it uses to pay. If you have problems with an ad, or an ad doesn't run, or you stop an ad, your credit associated with that campaign, you'll see it here, and they'll use that credit against a future ad. They will not credit you back money associated with an ad and any problems with it using this methodology. Okay, so before you can run an ad, you must have this payment process filled out and have a credit card in here, and then it will actually pay you. And then you can actually see here, this is new, the reporting here, we can start to see, okay, I've run ads over Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't have any data on Twitter. I did a Real Mailers mailing, and it starts to show me where I've spent my money and what my responses have been on these different campaigns. Lot of words there. I'll take a breath here and see if there's any immediate questions, and then we'll kind of wrap up with some recommendations on where to get some additional information.
Let me make a comment real quick. Those of you who might be a little bit intimidated by selecting interests, don't worry, because Facebook themselves, they say not to select any interests to get a lower cost per lead captured, lower cost per impression. If you allow Facebook to put it in front of the people who are most likely to click it, it is one, a lot less expensive, and two, you'll get in front of a lot more people. Now, we may have our demographic defined for what type of buyer, what type of seller we're looking for. And that's great. That's when you'll go in and select all those extra interests. But just keep in mind, because you're getting in front of the precise kind of people that you want to get in front of, it's costing you a lot more, probably about 3 times as much as if you just don't use any interest at all and do about a 15 or 20 mile radius.
Yeah, so a couple of the questions on here. Let's see, recorded content and the location you're going to be able to view. Yeah, I'll send you. I'll put some links together on some videos done by other agents, and also some of the leadership team on best practices. I'll include some of those video links for y'all to look into. We have here, can we retarget our contacts? Yes, you can. You'll notice that if you recall towards the bottom of the screen there, and Seth called it out, one of the options was to target your database. You can actually click on that option, and it will let you import your database from an Excel spreadsheet, and you can pick and choose which clients you want. So the way you would do that is put tags on your contacts. You would create an extract from command to say, grab all the people in my farm, for example. If I had 20 residents around my house and I'm farming my neighborhood, I'd say grab everybody in my farm, extract them, send them out to a CSV file. I grab that Excel spreadsheet, upload that into Facebook, select the campaign process within the Facebook ad to target my database, and then that ad would go to people in my neighborhood. That gets pretty slick, and if you get pretty sophisticated in your thinking, there is some pretty fancy ways of doing things there. So if you've ever been on Facebook and you've thought about something and all of a sudden you get on Facebook and there is the thing you were thinking about, that is one component of how that works, okay? We think that it's thinking, you know, something I'm thinking about shows up, and it's rarely that straightforward. Generally speaking, I have looked at something somewhere down the road that ties it together, and Facebook has all that data and they're able to bring it all together. I mean, they know that I share a household with a certain person. If that person looks at something and then I look at something, they know that there's a mutual interest there, and they're doing all that analytic in the background to tie all that information together. Let's see, we have here, SEO, what are the benefits? Yeah, Chandon, I'd be happy to talk about that offline a little bit. That gets a little bit more sophisticated when we start talking about the SEO and the differences in the targeting. So I'm going to defer that if you don't mind, please. Facebook ads given a coupon. I'm not sure about that, but no, it can't be used in here because we are sitting within an overall Keller Williams account. And the benefit of doing that is that we have more buying power. One of the reasons that we get good responses on our Facebook ads is because we have quickly become one of the largest advertisers on Facebook as Keller Williams. We are not seen as, you know, 150,000 individual accounts. We have one big account, and Keller Williams is the advertiser. And so the benefit of doing that is we get a lot of attention inside Facebook, and Facebook pays us a lot of effort to make sure that we're happy and that we're getting the best results on our searches. So that's one of the big benefits there. So unfortunately, though, it has some limitations in that we don't have as much flexibility on things like using coupons and discounts and stuff like that.
Where does the lead gen form end up?
The lead gen form will end up all in Command. And I'll talk just briefly about that here in just a second, because there is an alternative, and sometimes people have problems with it. And this is something else I'll put out on the Facebook page. So
let's rest assured, we are going to cover in a future session capturing leads and what to do when they come in through this type of ad.
Yeah, and then what to do with them afterwards. One of the biggest issues that we have with it is, okay, yeah, I spent a lot of money on Facebook, but then the people never call me back. So it takes anywhere from 4 to 8 attempts to contact somebody before we actually see some traction on your leads in Facebook. So there's a whole process involved there. We actually now have we actually have a Facebook follow-up smart plan available in Command that you can go look at. That has now been made public. There's a lot of scripts that are available for texting, emailing, and calling Facebook ads so that you can constantly be staying on top of them. But follow up is the most critical component of managing ads in Facebook. Last couple items here. Let's see. I posted. I will put it out on the Go accountability Facebook page. I'll make a note out there, and then I'll put those files in the file section out on that Facebook page. So let me just jump over real quick, and then I'll shut up here. One of the things that oftentimes people ask about is I can't find my leads, and as Seth mentioned, we will have a session on this, but there is a way within Facebook to actually go see your leads. Your leads will come into campaigns, like you saw on my other screen, where it showed the number of leads that you have there. You can click on it, and it will take you into your lead detail in Command. And they also show up in contacts as a lead. If you're getting leads and you see the numbers, but it's not showing up here, there is a process that you can actually go and see things inside Facebook. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing there, and if there are any last-minute questions there.
I do want to tackle a couple of answers real quick. There were a bunch of questions about age. Age is a restricted it's restricted data. We can't target by age any longer, and that's a Facebook level piece that Command has integrated as well. So there are, in fact, I do want to mention, if you haven't ever run a Facebook ad, this is imperative. Go to, just Google it, guys. Google Facebook Ad Manager, like you'll see right here. Google Facebook Ad Manager, you'll click into that. And if you've never used this before, if you're real estate, it's once you log in, you'll see a banner at the top. It is just you just have to accept their terms, okay? Because you're a real estate agent and they know you're a real estate agent, they're gonna have terminology that you've got to accept regarding fair housing laws and such.
Any last minute questions? I know it's a lot of information, so I appreciate your patience.
Where would I look to find out where that lead goes?
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, Gary, I didn't understand your question.
I think he's asking, where do we find where the lead goes? Guys, probably the easiest way to do it, if you're in Command, you have on your home screen, new lead activity. So we're going to come over here and you'll see up at the top right, it should be there. You'll see new leads that you've captured.
Got it.
Leads, it's a box right there.
Perfect.
Okay. If you have questions at any time, you can feel free to send them to me, jeffhickey@kw.com. We will get more information out. Christy, where would be the best place for me to post this documentation and stuff?
I'm working on putting a local, like one specific place for that. So I can send out an email to all your team leaders and let them know where it's going to be. And then hopefully we can have it all out there by Monday. Does that work for everybody?
Thank you. Yeah, sorry for the confusion on that. We're still getting some processes in place around these daily calls. So we'll make sure that it's widely publicized as to where you can get this information, and make sure that you have access to it. If you don't see it in the next couple days, early next week, send me a note directly and I'll be happy to make sure that I get you the material.
Yeah.
In the meantime, folks, if you're looking for more resources, more training, remember, I pulled up the wrong window here, but let me pull this over. Remember, you can go to, there you go. You can go to kwconnect.com, point at technology, command your business. Great resources here. So if you want to follow up on what you're seeing today, scroll down to command your marketing, recommended training, and you can dig in there.
Yeah, there's some great material in there that talks very specifically. And the neat thing about this too is this section will actually show there's shorter videos that are very focused. So I think that it'd be very helpful to spend some time in there. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Jeff,
Okay.
thank you for taking us through all that today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Really appreciate your time, and good luck with everything.
We've got a great lineup for next week. So see you guys at 3 o'clock Monday.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.